Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel. The telegraph office is gone now. The building demolished, the land repurposed. But the journal remains. It sits quietly in the glass case of a small-town museum, tucked between displays of old farm tools and photographs of pioneers. Few visitors stop to read it. Fewer still understand Morse code. But those who do sometimes pause. They stare at the words. And they wonder, could it be true? Could a message still echo long after the wires were cut? Could something or someone still be tapping into the silence? Some claim that if you visit the museum late at night, a forgotten era. There was a time, not so long ago, when the world felt much larger than it does today. The United States stretched endlessly westward, from the bustling coastal cities to the wide, quiet prairies, where train whistles echoed across the grasslands. Before smartphones, before the internet, even before telephones became common in every home, there was the telegraph. A simple system, and yet revolutionary. A small brass key, a series of wires stretched across poles, and a code made up of dots and dashes. It could carry news of births, of deaths, of wars and peace from one side of the country to another in a matter of minutes. Imagine the wonder of that. To think that in the mid-1800s, a farmer in Kansas could stand in a dusty little post office and, for a fee, send word to New York City, and that message would arrive before the farmer even saddled his horse to ride home. The telegraph shrank the distance of a vast, young country. But like every invention, its reign was temporary. Time moved forward. New technologies arrived, and one by one, the telegraph stations fell silent. The town and its station. Our story tonight takes us to a small Midwestern town. The kind of place you might pass without noticing while driving across the endless highways of Illinois or Iowa or Nebraska. The town was little more than a main street lined with brick storefronts, a water tower painted in fading white letters, and a railway line that once brought passengers and freight across the prairie. Beside those tracks, there stood a small telegraph office. Wooden siding, peeling paint. A square building with a wide front window, through which, once, the townspeople would have seen the steady figure of the station's telegraph operator. Inside, the room was simple. A high desk with a stool. A brass telegraph key wired into the wall. Stacks of paper forms for writing messages. A large, round clock that ticked quietly against the silence. It was here that the station's final operator worked his nights. He was not a man remembered for much. No wife, no children, no family nearby. His name, written only in old employment records, is rarely spoken now. But in his solitude, he kept the town connected to the world. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the prairie darkened in a quiet shadow, he would light his kerosene lamp, pour himself a cup of strong black coffee, and wait. Wait for the faint electric click of the telegraph key. If you've never heard a telegraph in use, it's a sound unlike anything else. A sharp tap when the operator pressed the key. A shorter, lighter click when the circuit released. Dot, dash, dot dot das. Letters formed from rhythm rather than shape. Words carried not by voice, but by electricity pulsing down a thin copper line stretched for miles. To the untrained ear, it was noise. To the operator, it was language. A living stream of messages tapping into his ears, his mind, and his notebook. He heard it all. News of crops being sold. Soldiers returning home. A child born in some faraway city. A death quietly mourned in another. And though he lived alone, he was never truly without company. The wire carried voices across the nation. It was his lifeline. Until, of course, it ended. The end of the telegraph did not come suddenly. It faded, like the slow dimming of a lantern as the oil runs dry. First, fewer messages each night. Then long stretches of silence between them. Until, eventually, weeks would pass without a single tap of the key. The telephone was everywhere now. The radio, too. No one needed the telegraph anymore. And so, one winter night, the operator received his final official message. It was brief. Nothing more than a notice from the regional office. Service terminated. Station to close. Equipment to be removed. He copied it down, as he had copied down thousands before. He signed his initials at the bottom, and then he sat there, staring at the brass key on his desk. The office was closing. The wire would be cut. His work was finished. But still he stayed. The first return. Days passed. Then weeks. The town moved on quickly. The telegraph office became another forgotten building, its windows dusty, its sign fading, its door locked. But the operator did not leave. He returned each night, unlocking the door, lighting his lamp, and sitting at the desk. He had nowhere else to go, no family to join, no new job to take. And though the wire had been cut and the brass key sat silent, he swore he still heard it, at first faintly, so faintly that he thought it was his imagination. A tap here, a click there. Then, slowly, a pattern began to emerge. Do it, dash, pause, dash, do it, dash. Morse code, clear as day, but the lines had been removed. The system was dead. How then could the keys still speak? The last message. Night after night, he returned, and night after night, the message repeated. Not a sentence, not a story, just one word, spelled slowly, patiently. S-L-E-E-P. Sleep. The old operator wrote it down in his logbook, at first with a shaking hand, then with calm acceptance. The message came each night at the same hour. Midnight. The strokes were always faint, yet steady, never changing, never fading. Just sleep. He tried once to answer. He pressed the brass key, his hand trembling, tapping out. Who is there? But the line remained silent. Moments later, the message began again. S-L-E-E-P. And so he stopped trying. He no longer asked who was sending it. He no longer questioned how. He simply listened, and in time, he obeyed. Part 7. The Journal. Years later, when the building was finally cleared out, the workers found little inside. A stool, a broken clock, a lantern burned black from use, and a small leather-bound journal. In it were pages upon pages of neat handwriting. Every night recorded, every occurrence noted. The last entry was brief. The handwriting weaker, shaking, but still legible. It read, "The message repeats. Each night, midnight, I do not answer anymore. Perhaps it is not meant for me. Perhaps it is for anyone still awake." The telegraph office is gone now. The building demolished, the land repurposed. But the journal remains. It sits quietly in the glass case of a small-town museum, tucked between displays of old farm tools and photographs of pioneers. Few visitors stop to read it. Fewer still understand Morse code. But those who do sometimes pause. They stare at the words, and they wonder, could it be true? Could a message still echo long after the wires were cut? Could something or someone still be tapping into the silence? Some claim that if you visit the museum late at night, and you lean close to the glass of that case, you can still hear it. Faint, steady, endless. S-L-E-E-P. And so, my friend, as you close your eyes tonight, imagine the old operator at his desk, the lamp flickering, the clock ticking, the brass key waiting. Not every message was meant to be answered. Some were meant only to be heard, to remind us of the quiet, steady rhythm of time, carrying us all into rest. So now, let the last telegraph message be yours. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and sleep. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. Goodbye.